An excerpt from The Adventures of Cat and Busby, written and read by Claudette Evans. Busby, the Parson Russell's puppy's eyes were growing heavier and heavier as he listened to the older human recounting stories from his years spent in the army. He always makes it sound so exciting, thought the puppy, as the blackness enveloped him. Stirring, his highly sensitive nose detected a strange smell. Opening first one eye, then both, he blinks hard and gasps. Why is he now lying on a canvas bed in a small tent? Where am I? He barks. In the distance, a bugle sounds. Root, ta-ta, toot, toot, toot. Followed by a stern voice yelling, "Wakey, wakey, shake a leg in there, the sergeant major's on his way." And jumping from the bed, the puppy is surprised to find he's wearing army fatigues. Inquisitive as always, he rushes outside and joins a line of smartly dressed soldiers. A rather portly, mustachioed man marches along the row, occasionally stopping by one of the young men to adjust part of their uniform. Inspection complete. "Private Busby, come here," shouts the RSM, and recognizing his name, the puppy jumps forward, sits and presents himself by raising a paw. "Once you've had breakfast, you're to meet up with the patrol at the railway station." Troops dismissed, Busby sets off in search of the canteen. With nose twitching, he soon discovers the wonderful aromas coming from a nearby tent, and entering finds two female humans busy cooking breakfast. My favourite, he barks as one of the ladies offers him a sausage. Grumbling tummy silenced, he races to the station and reports to the soldiers as instructed. "All station signs have been removed, so any German infiltrators won't know where they are," one of the soldiers informs him. A thought crosses Busby's mind. So how do they know which station is next? "They say the next up the line," to anyone who inquires where the train will be stopping next. Seems very confusing, thinks Busby. "Now, Private Busby, concentrate," says the corporal, rather sternly. "We're here to keep an eye on all the passengers catching the train, and your job is to sniff out any phonies, as you never know, there could be spivs, or worse still, saboteurs or spies in our midst." I wonder what spiv is. "Viv the spiv's a flashy git, can't miss him." "I hope he got some ciggies," says the other soldier as they march up the platform towards the booking office. I wonder what ciggies are. I do hope they're tasty treats. An approaching train interrupts further discussion, and Busby stands mesmerised as it draws into the station. "Oi, pup, shake a leg. You're supposed to be checking the waiting room, toilets and station master's office whilst we check the signal box," shouts the corporal, leaving Busby still transfixed by the giant smoke-belching locomotive as he rushes along the platform to get a closer view of the large steam engine, hoping to be invited onto the footplate. Unbeknown to him, sitting behind the great oak desk in the station master's office, was a figure huddled beneath a black coat, the wide brim of his velour hat masking his face from view as he scrutinises the documents spread out before him. He laughs as his gloved finger stabs at the paper. "Fools," he mutters, and leaving the room vanishes into the crowd of passengers beginning to board the train. "And just what do you think you've been up to?" comes the stern voice of the lance corporal. "Just inspecting the engine." "I thought I'd told you to join us at the signal box once you'd completed the security checks," he grunts, adding, "Come on, all aboard. Busby, you check the rear carriages and the guard's van. Private Hopkins and I will work our way through to the front." Making his way along the carriages towards the rear of the train, Busby has the time of his life, sniffing everyone and everything, to the annoyance of some and amusement of others, even though he isn't quite sure what suspicious smells like, being more used to checking female fox poo and the like. As the train slows and pulls to a halt at the next station up the line, Busby spies a cloaked figure crouching in the shadows. Is this what suspicion looks like? He wonders, watching as the figure removes a short orange stick from under his cloak and places it between the concertina sections between the carriages. My favourite, barks Busby. Then, quick as a flash, runs up, grabs the stick, and makes off as fast as his little legs can carry him, hotly pursued by the man in black. Chase me, barks Busby, and before the man has chance to catch him, the puppy sees an open door and jumps from the train and makes off along the railway track. Halt, or I shoot, yells the man. But Busby has no intention of halting or anything else. Only ever, should the move take him, does he respond to the word wait. Even though a bullet whistles past his left ear, he has the prize and intends to keep it. The sound of gunfire alerts both those who remained on the train and those standing on the station's platform. All become uneasy when someone yells, "That dog's got a stick of dynamite in his mouth!" Jumping from the train, the soldiers see the puppy racing away along the track, followed by the man in black. In hot pursuit, they freeze as the man levels his pistol towards the puppy and watch in horror as he fires and the puppy rolls over and over, stumbling away from the tracks into the thick undergrowth alongside the railway tracks. Busby slows to a halt as he reaches the level crossing. The sharp pain he felt earlier in his back leg has grown in intensity. And dropping the orange stick, he rolls into a narrow ditch by the side of the track to examine the degree of damage. Licking the bleeding wound, Busby discovers it is a nasty graze, and hearing heavy footsteps pounding towards him, he grabs the stick and crawls to hide beneath the deep undergrowth and lick his wound. Back at the station, the soldiers discover someone has been rifling through the station master's papers, underlining the 1542 train from the city. That's the train the general's taking for the big powwow at headquarters, growls the RSM. That's what they were after. I thought I told you to check this office. We did, Sergeant Major, sir. Well, Busby did. Did not, you mean? We'd better find that pup before he blows himself up. We've already sent a detachment to search for him, says the red-faced corporal. No sign of the little blighter, says the soldier, as the group return to the platform. But we did find some traces of blood down near the farm bridge. He's wounded. Must be lying in a ditch somewhere. He could be dead. Then you never know who might find the dynamite, retorts the RSM. Don't worry. We'll find him and it, sir, says the corporal, trying to sound reassuring. I'll take some men, search the ditches alongside the track, ordering 6 men from the unit to follow him. Sensing all is quiet, Busby scrambles out of his hidey hole and sluggishly makes his way along the railway line, all thoughts of the prize stick forgotten. A group of cheering soldiers race towards him, and at first Busby is wary of their approach and cowers down until he sees the human has some tasty treats in his hand. Picking up, the corporal asks Busby the whereabouts of the missing stick. The one you ran off with. The stick, thinks Busby, who is now faced with a dilemma. Stick or treat? Stick or treat? Tilting his head, first one way, then the other, as the human repeats the question. Sensing the human's anguish, Busby limps down the embankment and disappears into the hedgerow, sniffing the surrounding ground. It's then that the corporal sees the blood oozing from the puppy's leg. Come on, lads, help the little fella. Can't you see he's wounded? He yells. The soldiers are about to climb down when Busby turns, the orange stick firmly grasped in his jaw, and they all jump back in horror. And the corporal yells for them all to run for cover on the other side of the track. Well done, pup, says the corporal, bending down with outstretched hand. Now bring it here, there's a good boy. Thinking this is a game, the puppy shakes his head from side to side, tosses the stick into the air, catches it and repeats this little routine. Each time the man repeats his request, wiping the sweat from his brow. "May I try?" asks a young soldier. "I think you'll come for me." And with an exciting edge to his voice, arms held open wide and running on the spot, he makes as though he's about to turn away and leave. Immediately, Busby drops the stick and runs towards him, then hesitates, looking back at the stick. "Fetch!" shouts the soldier, and Busby turns, runs back to the stick, picks it up, and stands in front of the soldier, who now instructs him to drop with added urgency. "Well done, you're a hero," says the corporal as the puppy deposits the orange stick at the soldier's feet. Of course, Busby doesn't understand what all the fuss is about. For him, it was a game of chase, and he's just delighted to be given a whole sausage upon returning to camp. Then a man in a white coat examines his wound, and a nurse shaves some hair from his front paw, and he begins to feel very tired. Blinking, Busby arouses from his sleep. "That was a nasty wound, and it did require stitches," the older human says. "So there's to be no running around for this little man till it's fully healed. I think he likes the army T-shirt we've put on him." "We were playing fetch," says Busby's young mistress, taking the drowsy puppy in her arms, "and he slipped down the embankment, catching his leg on a protruding branch." "He was lucky. The steam railway are planning to open that branch line next weekend. It's not been used since the war.